Hi there, welcome back on the channel. As you can see, we have another electric car to review, and this one continues the short story that I already did on my former channel on cars reviewed and here on the channel Mașinile Testate, where I said goodbye Skoda for a moment, and now I'm saying hello Skoda once again. Well, that's because this one is the new car from Mașinile Testate family. It's a Skoda Enyaq, and this time it's the coupe version. And actually, it's a pretty interesting configuration because it's the RS model. It's manufactured in 2023 and it has done about 4,000 kilometers until now. And now let's see what does the RS configuration means. Well, we do have a couple of electric motors, which means that we do have four-wheel drive. The total output of the system is 300 horsepower and about 460 Newton meters of torque. The top speed is limited to only 180 kilometers per hour, up by 20 compared with the regular Enyaq, and the sprint from 0 to 100 happens in about 6.5 seconds. I'm not impressed by those numbers, especially considering that it's an electric car, and compared with Teslas, the numbers are actually pretty average, pretty basic. But considering that we have on this vehicle, as it stands today, about 2.3 tons in terms of weight, I mean, yeah, I can understand why 300 horsepower doesn't get you that much. In terms of the battery, we do have a 77 kilowatts net capacity and about 82 gross capacity, which translates in a average range of about 400 kilometers, a bit over, if you're obeying the speed limits, obviously. If you're going inside the city or on national roads, tops, you could probably get to about 500 kilometers of range. But running on the highway at the legal top speed, you're most likely to see something like 350 kilometers of range. The winter season doesn't impact that much the range, because at least this model is equipped with a heat pump. But even so, for today's electric cars, I think that the range for the most part is more than fine. Now let's check out the trunk area. Even though we have a coupe shaped, we still have a lot of space back here, and we don't have that annoying cover that the regular Enyaq has. That's the usual carry-on luggage. It looks kind of petite in here. I think you can squeeze about 7 or even 8 carry-on luggages like this one. We do have some additional storage spaces on either side of the trunk area, some hooks, some nets, and if I can lift this part, you can see we have some additional storage in there for your charging cables. On the back side, on this model at least, we do have some blinds, but the overall materials are pretty hard and brittle. We do have some interesting decor elements, some Alcantara type material here on the armrest, which is soft enough. Some storage space, some pockets on the back of the front seats, and a climate unit with seat heating here in the back, a couple of USB-Cs, and if I can lift this cover, you can see we also have a regular socket. This one is an accessory. You can remove it. You can remove it to seat 3 passengers in the back. We do have a panoramic roof, which is standard on coupes, with light fixtures on either way, and a couple of cup holders that are not really adjustable here in the armrest, which again doesn't have something to pull to remove it. Anyway, and as you can see, this is the space back here, plentiful. I mean, with the front chair over the B-pillar of the car, I still have more than a palm of space for my knees. And in terms of headroom towards the glass, yeah, I have almost 2 palms of space. But towards the ceiling, if I'm sitting straight, upright, I still have about 3 fingers of space. So it's more than fine. You can stretch out, but unfortunately I still don't get enough underthigh support. It's about 3 fingers to about a palm of space that is not supported. But other than that, yeah, it's a bit weird, the material here on the door card. It's quite harsh, and beside the rear bench. But I mean, probably you're not gonna touch that much. That part, for the most part, you'll keep your hand on the armrest, on the door card, and yeah, overall I'm enjoying the view here in the back, especially with this glass roof. I think it works, yeah. In front, the story changes for a bit, because we do have an interesting material. It's a bit softer up here, but otherwise it's pretty similar with the one in the back, the door card. Oh, and you do have some plush material here in the door pockets. But the chairs are pretty interesting, actually. They're quite sporty. They do hug you quite interestingly, and we have a lot of controls on this model. We also get memory function for the passenger and the 4-way adjustment in terms of lumbar support. Let's check out the space inside. Nice door closing sound. And as you can see, I have more than enough space, more than the palm of space. The material here on the left side, where you can rest your knee, it's actually quite soft, which is always nice to see. And the glove box, yeah, is not covered all the way, only on the lower side and in the back, but at least it's deep enough. And finally, on the driver's side, we have an additional control for the electric windows and outside mirrors, plus the ability to open the trunk area. On the left side of the steering wheel, we have the light controls and a small cubby that's covered only on one side. The seat is mostly identical, with a key difference that we do have massage function on the driver's side. And if we take a look inside, let me just start the car. It's on. Don't have to push any buttons like any electric car should. And as you can see, this is the view from the driver's side. We do have an interesting steering wheel, quite sporty actually, with perforated leather, physical buttons for the multimedia, the cruise control, and the ability to control the small display from the gauge cluster. Flappy pedals, but they are not for the gearbox, they are for recuperation. The usual stocks behind the steering wheel with adaptive cruise on this model. And the gauge cluster, it's pretty small actually, but it does offer the necessary amount of information. You can see your cruise control here on the left side. The usual information in terms of the driving, as you can see, that's the range with 75% battery. And this is the consumptions. On 400 kilometers the car averaged 17, so it's alright. It's pretty similar with what I got with the old Enyaq that had only 180 horsepower and a small battery, so interesting. And yeah, you can also see the navigation, the in-car navigation in here. Other than that, we have black liner because we do have an RS configuration. This is the light controls for the inside. You have a frameless dimmable mirror. The infotainment screen, it's not amazing. It does have a bit of lag the first time you load it, but at least we have Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, so it's alright for the most part. You'll get used to it. Some physical buttons to set up the car, the driving modes, they appear in here. The parking assistant, hazard lights, lock and unlock of the doors, and some climate control. A couple of USB-Cs in there and the wireless charger on this side. A couple of cup holders in here. The so-called gear selector for the drive or reverse. The parking brake, a small cabin here with a couple of coin holders and an armrest with quite a lot of space actually. And yeah, you also have some additional space in here. Welcome to the driving part of the review. Today with the Enyaq Coupe RS. And as you probably saw on the static review, we are back on our usual filming ground or the spot that I used before I moved out of Bucharest. And yeah, I've been driving the car for a moment. I needed to set up my impressions, even though I'm pretty familiar with the model, because as you probably saw on the channel, we also still have for the moment Skoda Coupe, not a Coupe, Skoda Enyaq, the regular one, the SUV, in the family, and I'm currently driving it at the moment of this video, because I still haven't bought a car for myself, and that one hasn't been sold until now, so I'm still using it. And even though, yeah, it looks pretty similar with this one, and inside out, yeah, you might find a couple of differences. Well, this one is the Coupe, obviously it's the RS, it does have bigger rims. This one actually rides on 21 inches, and interesting enough, it's 235 on the front axle and 255 on the rear axle. And inside, obviously it's pretty similar. The differences are in terms of the materials and the overall front seats. But other than that, as I said, they're pretty similar. Although that's not nearly half of the story, because once I've got behind the steering wheel of this car, I felt like I'm in a completely different vehicle. Let me explain for a moment. Since, yeah, we're running into a speed limit zone. Even though it's still an Enyaq, it does feel completely different. We do have four-wheel drive, so a couple of electric motors, and maybe in some way it affects the handling as well, but the steering is more precise. and I'm not even in sport mode. If I'm switching it to sport mode, as you can see, I do have a lot more control over the front axle of the car. The noise levels inside the cabin, surprisingly, even though this one is an RS and usually the sporty versions of the vehicles are a bit louder, a bit harder, harsher, the noise vibration harshness index, it's a bit worse compared with the regular models. In this case, it's not the case. It's not the same. It doesn't apply. It's actually right up there in terms of comfort levels with the regular Enyaq, even though we have 21 inches instead of 19s. And we still don't have adaptive dampers on this model, so it could have been even better, actually. But the noise levels are even better inside. Having this sloping roofline in the back really helps with the noise levels inside the car. And to be honest, I wasn't really expecting that, because the other Enyaq also does have double glazed windows and some additional soundproofing. But even so, this one is quieter. It's more comfortable on the highway like we're running right now. So yeah, those are the main differences, the things that made me realize that this one is a completely different vehicle, even though it says Enyaq on the back like it does on the other one. Now we are on the unrestricted stretch of road. I'll do a small sprint from 80 to 130 now. That was it. Yeah, it's a quick car, not the fastest by any stretch of imagination compared with some dual motor Teslas. They're gonna leave it behind. But I think the problem starts over 100 kilometers per hour, because yeah, it does pull, but it doesn't surprise you anymore. I mean, until 60 or maybe even 80 kilometers per hour, it seems like it does have more than 300 horsepower. The 6.5 seconds from 0 to 100, that's on paper. I don't feel that is saying the whole story in terms of the dynamics of the car. You still have a lower center of gravity because we have that huge battery in the floor, and we also have four-wheel drive with this model, so for the most part it's actually quite a fun vehicle. Don't get me wrong, I wouldn't necessarily go on a circuit with it, because it's still at around almost 2.3 tons in terms of weight, so yeah. You have to pay attention for the most part. But on public roads, I mean, yeah, it does feel quite interesting, actually. And as I said, especially until 60 or 80 kilometers per hour tops. Now we are on a really bad stretch of road, actually, and we are doing 60. It's not the most comfortable car, again, but considering the fact that it's an SUV, it has to be bit harsher in terms of the suspension because it's quite high as a vehicle. It is quite heavy and it does have 21 inches fitted, and it's actually pretty good for the most part. So yeah, I'll do a sprint from 30-40 kilometers per hour to 130 when we get back on the highway. But until then, I'm gonna talk about the maintenance for a moment, because it's an electric car. You don't really have too much maintenance to do. They're gonna call you in probably at 2 years or 30,000 kilometers, I think, to check the battery, whatever, some other components, and also to replace the brake fluid, the cabin filter or something like that. But other than that, there's really not much to do. Some interesting aspects, even though it's the RS configuration, it still has drum brakes on the rear axle, which is fine in my opinion. On public roads, I didn't feel a necessary fade towards the rear axle in terms of braking. So I don't know, maybe if you go to the mountain on a bendy stretch of road, I don't know, on a circuit, but as I said, you probably wouldn't go on the circuit with this one. So yeah, in my opinion at least, that's a plus, because you don't have to worry about maintaining the brake system. Probably you'll use the regen, so brake pads replacement could happen even at 100,000 kilometers. And I don't know, maybe the suspension, the tires could require some additional costs, because it's quite a heavy vehicle and you might have some fun with it once in a while. I don't know, it depends on your driving style. But other than that, not much to talk about in terms of maintenance. Now let's get back on the highway, and then I'll talk about the things that I enjoyed while reviewing the car and the things that didn't impress me that much. Let's see, from 20 to 130. That was it. It does raises its nose when you're accelerating hard. But not all the way, not until 130, as I said. It tends to run out of puff quite easily, and it's, interestingly enough, it's something that I saw with almost all electric cars. Well, maybe not with Teslas actually, but for the most part the electric cars are quite good when you put your foot down, because they have some interesting instant torque, but after a while they're starting to fade, to slow down, even though you're full throttle. So anyway, getting to the things that I enjoyed about the vehicle. As I said, for the most part it's a pleasant place to be. It's a pleasant experience to own and drive this car. The materials for the most part are good inside the cabin. The noise levels are good. The suspension deals with bumps quite gracefully, actually. But especially I need to mention the seats here in front. They do have some sort of an Alcantara material, and they're quite body hugging. And I enjoyed sitting inside the car, with one small caveat. Yeah, I'm missing a front part that could extend to get some under thigh support. But other than that, for the most part, they're brilliant. At least for me, for my constitution. I'm at around 90 kilometers per hour, and I weigh about what the heck am I saying? I'm at about 1.82 centimeters in height, and I weigh about 90 kilograms. Too much specs. Anyway, so yeah, for the most part, I do fit quite well in this seat. So yeah, for a sporty vehicle, for a sport model in the lineup, I'm pretty impressed with the way it feels, and the comfort levels are actually a positive, a plus, in my opinion. In terms of the negatives, well, compared with the regular Enyaq, I'm not necessarily a fan of the fact that instead of regular plastic on the center console, we do get piano black plastic here, and I would clean it quite often. It's not necessarily an area that you would touch to leave fingerprints, but I think the gear selector could impose that, and you're gonna want to clean this area from dust particles. And let's see what else. Oh yeah, something that actually applies to the regular Enyaq as well. I don't get along with the infotainment screen and the app on my phone. They are laggy, they are glitchy, at times they're completely frozen, and yeah, all in all, I'm not a fan. You could get used to it, maybe if you're a bit patient, but nah, I don't know. It's not for me. They are trying to improve the systems, they're releasing updates. It has gone a bit better, but it's not necessarily perfect, so yeah, that's pretty much it. Those are my impressions, and actually that was the driving part of the review as well. If you enjoyed what you saw, consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel. Why not? It's free after all. And if you want to leave your impressions in the comment section, it would be much appreciated. Until next time, thank you for watching.